Let's talk about something we're all experts in, but none of us can explain. Time. I mean, think about it. You can't see it, you can't grab it, but you feel it slipping by every single moment. So what is it really? It's a question that has puzzled humanity for centuries. Today, we're going on a journey through the minds of three brilliant thinkers who each tried to wrestle with this question, and you'll see just how much the answer can change.
Augustine just hits the nail on the head here, doesn't he? This quote is so perfect because it captures the central mystery. We all feel like we know what time is, right up until the moment someone asks us to define it. It's so easy to experience, but man, is it hard to put into words. To find the very first real attempt at a definition, we have to rewind the clock way back.
All right, so let's travel back more than 2,000 years to ancient Greece. We're looking for the first big, systematic answer to this puzzle. And that brings us to the one and only Aristotle.
In his incredible work, Physics, Aristotle lays out a definition of time that would quite literally shape Western thought for over a millennium. I mean, this wasn't just an idea. For a very, very long time, it was the idea. That alone tells you just how powerful, and honestly, how intuitive his answer really was.
So what was Aristotle's big secret? Well, it's actually pretty simple. He said time isn't some mystical force floating around. Nope, it's a measurement. It's just how we count change or motion. Think about a race. You've got the before, the runner at the starting line, and the after, the runner crossing the finish line. For Aristotle, time is just the number we use to count that movement. It's something real, it's objective, and it exists out there in the world completely separate from us.
But this common sense view leads to a really fascinating kind of mind-bending question. If time is just the measurement of motion, what would happen if all motion just stopped? Poof! If the entire universe froze solid in a single instant, with no before and no after to measure, would time itself grind to a halt? Pondering that question really shakes the foundation of this external view, and wouldn't you know it, it perfectly sets the stage for a totally different way of thinking.
And that little thought experiment leads us right to our next philosopher, Augustine of Hippo. He comes along and proposes this revolutionary pivot. He asks, what if time isn't out there in the world at all? What if it's in here, inside our own heads? And this is the fundamental split. You've got Aristotle, who sees time as this cosmic, external clock ticking away as the planets move. Then Augustine comes along and says, no. The real clock is inside you. He called time a distension of the soul, basically a kind of stretching out of our own consciousness as it holds on to the past and reaches toward the future.
Now here's where Augustine really flips the script. He argues that logically the past is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And the future, it isn't here yet, so it doesn't exist either. The only thing that is truly real is the present moment, which of course creates a paradox, right? I mean, how can we even talk about history or planetication if the past and future aren't real?
Well, Augustine solves this with a truly brilliant idea he calls the three presents. He says, okay, the past as an external thing is gone. Sure, but it exists right now in the present as an active memory. And the future isn't here yet, but it exists right now in the present as an active expectation or anticipation. And the present itself, that's what our attention is focused on. So for Augustine, past, present, and future are all just different actions of the mind, all happening in this very moment.
Okay, so where does that leave us? We've got two huge theories. Is time an objective ruler we use to measure the world, like Aristotle said? Or is it a subjective story we tell ourselves inside our minds, like Augustine believed? Or could it be something else entirely? Something even more fundamental to what we are? And that question brings us all the way into the 20th century, to our final thinker, Martin Heidegger. He took this whole debate to a completely new existential level. For Heidegger, you can't even begin to ask what is time until you first ask, what does it mean to be a human being?
Now, to get Heidegger, you first have to know this one special term he uses, Dasein. It's a German word, and he uses it to talk about human existence. It literally translates to being there. And the term itself is important. It highlights that we're the kind of beings who exist in the world, fully aware that we exist.
So that leads to Heidegger's central question.
What makes the time of a Dasein, a human, so special? I mean, a rock exists in time, a star burns through time. What is it about our being there that makes our relationship with time so radically different from everything else in the universe?
And Heidegger's answer is incredibly simple and at the same time absolutely profound. The one thing that separates our experience of time from that of a rock or a star is this: we know it's going to end. We are the only beings, as far as we know, who are consciously aware of our own mortality.
So for Heidegger, time isn't a river we're floating in. It's not a clock on the wall. Time is the horizon of our being. Our life is this finite stretch from birth to death, and it's this limited time, this constant awareness of what he calls being towards death, that gives everything we do its weight, its urgency, its meaning. Your goals, your relationships, your passions, they all matter precisely because your time is not infinite.
So, after this whole journey, from the world outside of us to the world inside our minds, and finally to the very core of what it means to be us, the question has to turn back to you.
We've seen this incredible expansion of the idea. We started with Aristotle and his external, public clock that measures the world. Then we moved inward to Augustine's internal, mental clock, powered by memory and expectation. And we ended with Heidegger, who says time isn't a clock at all. It's the very horizon of life itself.
So how do you experience time most of the time? Is it an Aristotelian thing for you? Is it the clock on the wall, the schedule in your calendar, the race against the deadline?
Or is it more like Augustine's version? Is time, for you, that internal story you're constantly telling yourself, a flow of memories about who you were and a stream of hopes for who you're going to be?
Or maybe it's Heidegger's time. Is it that constant, quiet awareness that this is it, that your time is finite, precious, and the very thing that gives your life its ultimate meaning? 3 incredible thinkers, 3 powerful answers. Time as a measure, time as an experience, time as existence itself.
Maybe the point isn't that one of them is right and the others are wrong. Maybe we experience all 3. But by understanding their ideas, maybe we can get a little closer to understanding ourselves. So, after all that, the final question is pretty simple. What is time to you?